Hello everyone, Bob Lives Around the World. So this is just a channel update video, and I have a big announcement to make. Now, the announcement that I'm making for the channel is that I'm going to be heavily changing my vocabulary on what words I use to describe different nations of people. Because for a long time, I've used, the racial terms that the world has given us, like black people and Caucasians and Negro and all this type of stuff. But when we go back in time, we see that those are not words that were created by the Most High Yah, Yahuwah, or words that He approves of. Those are racial terms that were made up by people who had satanic intentions. All right. And before, the 16 and 1700s, when those guys came up with the false doctrine of race, there was no such thing as whiteness. There was no such thing as white power or black power or brown unity. There was no such thing as that because it was about nation, ethnicity, not skin color. All right. So if you were to go back in time, all the way to the time of the Bible, Psalms 83, all of the nations in Psalms 83 are what we would now call today black people. Every single one of them. But you realize those people were enemies though. But yet, under the modern concept of race, those people are all black people. But yet they're different nations of people. And that's something that I've said on this channel, where I'll call them Negro nations of people. But I'm no longer going to be using that worldly term. I'm going to be switching the terms, like in referring to the sons and daughters of Japheth. Notice I just said Japheth with a Y and not Japheth with a J, because that's another adjustment I'm going to be making, because there was no J in Hebrew. So names like Japheth's name is actually Japheth. There was no J. Just like with Jacob's name, he was not Jacob, he was Jacob. There was no J. So I'm going to be saying Japheth and not Japheth. And also the racial terms, the racial names and terms, I'm going to be pushing that back. And when I'm talking about the sons and daughters of Japheth, the people you see on the screen right now, I'm going to be referring to them as Eurocentric type people and not Caucasoid type people. And when I'm talking about, the descendants of Shem and Ham, instead of calling them black people or Negro people, and when I'm talking about like Esau and Moab and Israel, I refer to them as like Afro-Asiatic, or just, the fact that they're Hebrews, not calling them Negro, because I don't really like the term Negro anymore. And I feel like that the Most High Yah, Yahuwah, has grown me in so much truth and so much in His truth and wisdom. But yet I'm still talking like I'm in the world. I feel I can see the growth and the knowledge that He's put in my head that I didn't have, 2 years ago, even 6 months ago. But yet my vocabulary, my lips are still sounding like I'm in the world. So I feel like I need to make a change, about that. And this is why, it's a perfect time to display this new chart I have right here. The descendants of Japheth all around the world today. Notice how I have it on the text in the little blue box, the descendants of Japheth, Eurocentric type people, and not Caucasoid people like I would have. I'm trying to eliminate those racial terms.